The Unfiltered Business Podcast, a place where young professionals come together to grow, evolve, and change for the better. A place where success is accessible. Welcome to the show. It's the Unfiltered Business Podcast. Welcome back. It is week 12. I am your host, Derek Thomas. We got some different stuff going on today. I hope you guys are excited to be here. The episode, our guest today on the episode is me. So I've been so freaking slammed at work. I was unable to schedule a guest for this week. So if anything, this teaches me that, hey, no matter what else you have going on, this has to be a priority. And, that means this week I got to put some time in, put some feelers out there, see who may be interested. Because I want to keep this thing going. We're 12 weeks in. We've been doing it for 3 months. For me, starting from nothing, I feel like that's a huge accomplishment. And, this is something that you don't necessarily see like huge results right off the bat. It's like we're getting some listeners. We got a few more every single week. We're having fun, but, I'm no Joe Rogan. I'm no Adam Carolla. I'm no, you name the podcast or Dax Shepard, whatever it may be. So like, there's not, a lot of people have been like, hey, how is this thing going? Are you getting like hundreds of people? I'm like, no, I'm not getting hundreds of people. I'm getting like tens of 20s of people, and people text me that have, hey, great episode. I really like your guest, blah, blah, blah. A lot of people love Natalie Frank. Danny Sullivan, obviously a great friend, and a lot of people who listen to the podcast know him personally. So they love that. But everybody's been a great guest and everyone's been having fun. But again, like it's kind of the easiest thing to quit, right? Like the more I think about it, I'm like, well, I don't have an episode this week. I don't have a host. Let's just skip it. Who's going to notice? But I'm so freaking crazy that I can't let myself stop. I made a goal to do one every single day every single week this year. And I'm going to do that goal. And that kind of leads me into some other stuff I want to talk to you guys about today. So if you aren't already aware, this will be a shorter episode. I'm challenging myself to speak to you guys directly with just me for, 10, 15 minutes, something like that. I'll make sure if it seems like things are going off the deep end and you're just circling the wagon here, we'll cut it. But yeah, this is a challenge for me, but I'm excited. And, what I was just talking about with, being a little crazy when it comes to the podcast and other things, that it kind of leads me into exactly some other things that I want to talk to you guys about. So because I didn't have a guest this week, I went back and I started listening and watching some of my previous episodes, and I wanted to do some reflection on, things that have changed, things that I feel more comfortable with, so on and so forth. So one of the things that I noticed is that in the first few episodes, I don't think I was listening as much as I should have. And it sounds weird because we're having a conversation with people and, naturally you feel like you're listening. But the more I was kind of tuning in, I was almost waiting for my turn to talk, and that's something that it's not really a good skill to have if you're a podcaster, an interviewer, broadcaster, whatever that may be. You want to be listening, so it's you understand your cues and you have something prepared, but like you're actually reacting. And so that was something that I noticed that I'm going to work on. The other thing was like I interview or I I talk over people a lot, and I interrupt people. And I've been told by this from a few people, and I think I kind of put the excuse out there that I came from my mom's side of the family is a very big, loud, boisterous family, and you had to speak up to kind of, if you wanted to be heard, you got to speak up. And I think I kind of use that as a thing where it's like, oh yeah, I'm open, I'm here to talk. But when I'm looking back at the podcast and assessing like, hey, what are things you get better at? I noticed that I do interrupt people a lot. So I need to like give people some space to talk. I also need to do this in my day-to-day life too. So that's something else I thought was interesting. All this stuff is just, I'm trying to make this thing as interesting as possible, bring value to everyone who's listening, and just talk to some interesting people. And if I'm known as the guy who talks over everybody, no one's going to want to be on the show. So, Yeah, I thought that was important for me to kind of have some moments of reflection, especially because, like what I was saying before, this could be something that's easy to stop doing. I don't have a whole lot of listeners. No one's really asking, hey, like, what are you doing? I can't wait for next week's episode. So it's like if I just all of a sudden didn't have anything popping up in Apple Podcasts or Spotify or YouTube, like I don't know if anybody would be necessarily. I don't even know if anybody would really notice. And that's not a saying anything bad about me or my friends or anything like that. It's just like, no, it's like you've been doing it for 3 months. You've had 12 episodes. Like you're not there yet. So I wanted to take a chance to kind of do some self-reflection and be like, okay, what can you get better at? And so those were two things that really stepped out. Um, on another note, more self-reflection. Last week, I told you guys we went on vacation the week before. And we had an amazing vacation. I was able to really check out. My team totally stepped up. They kicked ass while we were gone, handled shit, managed projects, finished projects, client faced, you name it. They stepped up. It was huge. And I was able to really relax. And we got back last week and, things just stacked up. It was one of those things where you don't know until you like dive in that first day when you get back. You're like, okay, what did I miss? Right. And so you start diving in and that's when like the stress really took over. Last week was really hard, and it's you have to expect this when you leave for vacation. It's just part of it, you especially if you're going to check out, especially if you want to get off the grid and have no one bother you. It's like you have to realize that when you do come back, there are things that are going to be waiting for you. And, thankfully there was no clients that were upset or there was nothing like that, but it's like stuff that you just feel behind on. I mean, the podcast being one, I didn't have a guest for this week. So that kind of ate at me a little bit. And I was just seeing how I was trying to realize like what triggers I have when it comes to, different stress things that pop up. And I'm starting to realize like how unhealthy of a relationship I have with my own work and my emails and my social media apps and all those kind of things. And I think I have some work to do when it comes to being able to separate the two. I realize that every morning when I wake up, it's email's the first thing. Like within the first 5 seconds, like grab your phone, what's the email? Like what happened over the course of the last 8 hours, you know? Or, what are my investments doing? That's become like this thing where like I need to stop. I'm like, who cares what crypto is doing? You're not going to sell it anyway. So what the hell do you care? And what does my Robinhood account look like? What do all those things look like? It's like it really doesn't matter. And there's just all these things that I'm realizing that I need to be able to find some separation, because otherwise I'm just going to stress myself out. I've told you guys before, I can be a ball of stress sometimes. Like I try to seem all calm, cool, and collected, but I'm a duck on a pond, right? Like it looks nice and calm on top, but underneath those legs are turned a mile a minute. So I'm really trying to figure out how I can break up the two, because this COVID situation for some has been really hard because they've had to bring everything from their office back to home. But we have always kind of had this work relationship, but we've kind of hit the ground. We've really like hit our stride this year, I would say. And our opportunities are up, our projects are up. The clientele is of a higher echelon, and that's no disrespect to any of our previous clients. We love everyone that we've worked with, but we're working with some higher ticket items, potentially like higher risk, higher pressure, things like that. And I think with that comes the additional stress that's put on me, puts on my wife, and being able to finish the day at whatever it is, 5:30, 6:30, whatever the time is really important. And because for those watching on YouTube, like outside that door right behind me is our TV, and our living room, that's where we decompress, where we relax, but there isn't much of a separation there. And it's definitely been like weighing heavy lately. And I want to say this, that I enjoy that side of it. Like I haven't been this enthusiastic about work, um, maybe forever, and I've loved working for Polygon every moment. And but now that things are really like coming to fruition, things that we've wanted, things that we've been had on our goal boards, things that we've been forecasting, they're starting to come through. So I'm really excited about what's been happening with work. But with that comes this idea of like, I always need to be working, or I'm never doing enough, or our deliverables aren't good enough, or you name it. And it happened last night on Sunday evening, where we got back from hanging out with some family, and I dove right into work when we got home. It was like 8 o'clock when we got home, and I was like, I got to get an hour working. And my wife's like, this can't wait till tomorrow. And of course it can, but I'm going to be thinking about it. So, but anyways, to speed this up a bit, I'm going to be working on setting up some boundaries with myself, understanding, hey, when the workday is over, it's over. Go be with your wife. Yes, she's your business partner, but first and foremost, she is your wife, and you guys need to have a relationship outside of being business partners. So that's definitely something that I'm going to be working on and trying to get better at, because it's very easy to fall into kind of this, hey, we got work to do. Let's talk about meetings. Let's talk about clients. Let's talk about projects. And then the end of the day, it's like, I'm tired. I don't even want to talk. Let's just go on Instagram. Let's go on TikTok. Let's go on, you name it. And then before you know it, like, we went a whole day without even talking to each other about our own personal lives. So it's going to be something that I'm going to be working through. On a more positive note, like, the business is better than ever. Again, I mentioned that, we're getting more opportunities, we're winning more projects, we're winning higher ticket projects. We brought on a social media manager last month. She's been doing a great job, and we're actually needing to bring on another social media manager. So Allison, I know, has like 6 or 7 interviews lined up tomorrow. Just super exciting times, right? And I'm having to really understand like my role as the CEO of this company, and like how I manage both projects, vendors, employees, my own time. And it's been really fun and exciting. And I think that's why I feel so consumed by all this stuff. But anyways, it's great times at Polygon. We're super excited. We've got amazing clients that are doing a multitude of different things. And I couldn't be happier about that. Last thing I want to touch on here is, Allison and I struggle to find new shit to watch. I think every once in a while we'll get a good recommendation for another movie. We watched the Trial of the Chicago 7, that Aaron Sorkin movie, last week, and we were like totally blown away. Amazing movie. Sacha Baron Cohen was unreal. If you haven't seen it, go ahead and watch. But my point is that, like, we didn't watch Game of Thrones, and we feel like we missed the boat. It's like it's not worth going back into. And we also get very comfortable watching, like, rewatching shows that we've seen a million times. Like, we love New Girl, we love Community, we love Parks and Rec, Seinfeld. I mean, we can watch all those things over and over again. But I saw a video like 2 weeks ago, maybe, yeah, it was right before vacation, and it was something about like, you guys need to rewatch Lost. And I was thinking, like, shit, I love Lost. Like, I remember watching it, back. I actually didn't watch it live. I streamed it all, like, back when, no, not streamed. I like downloaded the whole thing, like, back in those days, like off of Kazaa or some torrents, whatever, and I watched it like over the course of 3 months, like 130 some odd episodes, something like that. But so we're back into it, and I'm so goddamn hooked on this show right now. It's bad. And I also realized, for those who watch, like, how frustrating of a show that is too. It's like, don't get me wrong, it's great. Like, they leave you on these cliffhangers, but like, it just takes forever to get anything done. And it's been fun to kind of go back, because it's like similar to when I rewatched The Sopranos 10 years ago or something like that, where it's like, oh, I remember this, and I was at such a different stage in my life when I watched this, and it kind of brings you back. It's like this little time machine that you can go on. And it's been fun to kind of get back into an old show. I need to make sure that it doesn't get unhealthy. Like, on Friday night last week, I think I stayed up to like 3 a.m, binge watching like 12 episodes or some ridiculous number like that. But it's been fun to kind of go back, and Allison and I have something that we can watch together. And yeah, so we've been having fun with that. But anyways, that's my episode this week. Hopefully I didn't bore you too much. It's been fun doing this with you guys. I can't thank you enough for all sticking around and listening and being a part of all this. It's just been fun. And again, I have a goal to do this every single week this year. If it turned into something, great. If not, it's just one more thing I can tack off the list. So I appreciate you guys. I love all of you. I will have a guest next week. I promise you that. I don't want you to have to suffer through me talking for 15, 20 minutes again. That's no fun for anybody. So I will have a guest next week. Until that time, have a great week. I wish you all the best and take care. Thanks.